We have a huge report coming here from Elliotte Friedman saying that the Blackhawks may be going for Andrei Kuzmenko. This is an absolutely huge report. If so, if this is true, the Blackhawks will be making an excellent move before the NHL trade deadline. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, is Andrei Kuzmenko and the Chicago Blackhawks. But before we get into all of that, we notice that 83% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to get all your Blackhawks news, you're in the right spot. Make sure to stay a while, hit the sub button so you don't miss out on any of the breaking news as it happens. We will have it here, as well as our Twitter, which is in the description, so make sure to check that out. But like I said, we need to start this one off here. Kuzmenko has been linked to Chicago, and this is huge news for the Blackhawks and Blackhawks fans. This comes from Elliotte Friedman on 32 Thoughts, the podcast. He says, Chicago, that's the team. If I was them, I'd be looking at Kuzmenko. Jeff Merrick then goes on to say, I always think Kuzmenko, if they're going to move him in the offseason from Vancouver, it's going to be up with the Islanders. Elliotte Friedman then says, I thought Nashville for a while, but Chicago, they cannot score. And listen, we know, watching the Blackhawks games, watching this team, that could not be closer to the truth than it is. They cannot score, apart from Jason Dickinson, without Connor Bedard. You know, it's a shame to say, but it is fact. So, Nick, what do you think about Andrei Kuzmenko? We know the season he had last year was insanely good. So what do you think about him being linked to the Chicago Blackhawks?
Well, I think, first of all, like, a change of scenery might be what that guy needs. Like, we all thought he was just going to click in Vancouver there last year. He got that contract, and he started playing really well, 30-goal scorer. But, like, a change of scenery, like, and especially, like, if you're looking for a guy that you could permanently put up there with Connor Bedard, I think that would be, like, when Bedard comes back and Kuzmenko is there, those guys could really cook together.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Like you said, though, he definitely did have an excellent season last year. 39 goals in his first NHL season. Very rare in today's game, but this year he hasn't exactly found that groove just yet. He has been struggling a bit on this Canucks team that seems to have found their way. You know, we kind of flipped the script here. He was good when the Vancouver Canucks were bad, and now the Vancouver Canucks are good, and he's been having a bit of a struggling season, but I think that could easily be turned around. You know, it's only halfway through the season yet, even if he does not get traded, which I do think that will be the case, that he will. You know, he might turn it around for the Canucks, but Elliotte Friedman also went on to say here that this was on another podcast later in the day, on Donnie and Dolly. He said, since I brought up Kuzmenko's name to Chicago on the podcast this morning, I've had multiple people contact me to say that there's more to this. And now, if this is true, once again, if this is true, this is huge. You know, the Blackhawks, they need to do something about this goal scoring. Even though they're not trying to win games, they're not trying to, you know, make a playoff push or nothing like that. They're not trying to get higher in the standings. But they do want to win those games that they should be winning. You know, there's many games recently that they should have won, but they've lost by a goal or two, have gotten shut out, whatnot, just because they can't score. They've played excellent. They played very, very well in these games, but they just haven't been able to put the puck in the net. I think Kuzmenko is the guy that would be able to do that. Now, one thing to notice about his contract here, Nick, which I want also to get your opinion on this, is that he does have a modified no-trade clause. Now, that could be a bit of an issue, knowing that the Chicago Blackhawks are not in a great spot. It could be enticing to play with Connor Bedard, Lucas Reichel, Jason Dickinson, whoever he plays with on this team. But knowing that this spot in the standings, where he's going to the playoffs if he stays on Vancouver, but if he don't, you know, that's going to be an issue. But I do think that there's a possibility that he does want to change the scenery as well. You know, he's been struggling. He's had glimmers of hope with the Vancouver Canucks. One play against the Blackhawks in specific, the spin around a cross crease, which was absolutely insane. I was mind blown by that. But Nick, do you think that the contract-wise, this is a good thing for Chicago? Do you think that he will be willing to be traded to Chicago as well, like along with everything else?
Well, for the contract, I don't think it's going to matter that much, because you're not locked up for like a long-term deal or whatever. You're not committing long-term money if you're Chicago, which is something that obviously you want to do when you're in the midst of a rebuild. You want to keep away from the long-term money kind of thing. They've already got Seth Jones on that long contract, so that's going to be a long time before that's up. But I think as for Kuzmenko himself, like wanting to go to Chicago, I would say that maybe if the Blackhawks were in there before that contract was signed, it was probably because they had nothing. They had no future. And this was probably before they had Connor Bedard on the roster. So you can always waive your no-trade clause. I'd say if Connor Bedard's going to be healthy, he knows Connor Bedard's coming back, and he's asked, hey, do you want to, like, would you waive your no trade clause to go to Chicago? And he sees that Connor Bedard's there, obviously. He's like, okay, they need a guy to play with him, and that's going to be me. I would personally waive it. I think he would probably waive it too.
I think you're in the right boat as well, there are other teams that have been linked, like the Islanders, although I don't think Kuzmenko really wants to play with the Islanders. The Islanders have never been known for a team that has an incredible offense, well, apart from way back when, but as of, the past 20 years, they really haven't been known for anything on their offense. But I think that you're right, I think that playing with Connor Bedard is enticing to anybody, even with a no-trade clause or no-move clause, whatever it may be. I think that is something that, would entice Andrei Kuzmenko. But you're also right on the contract situation as well. He does have 2 years left, and this is what Elliotte Friedman said as well. I think he said that this is in the Chicago wheelhouse of contracts right now. They signed Jason Dickinson, they signed Nick Foligno, and they're all 2-year deals. It's all expiring around the same time. So having Kuzmenko at 5.5 until then is very beneficial, actually, to the Blackhawks. One, it helps them get to that cap floor that we've been seeing they've been doing with signing these contracts. Peter Mrazek, Jason Dickinson, Nick Foligno, all 3 to 4 million area, and Andrei Kuzmenko making 5.5. That's a great boost to that cap floor, knowing it's going to go up a bit as well. He's just a good goal scorer. We seen what he could do last year. He was very, very good, and even this year, he's seen that he's shown that he still is that guy. It just hasn't found that exact spot he needs to be yet. So I think that this is a really good move for the Blackhawks if they do it, but it is going to be a trade, obviously, if they do. I know Kyle Davidson don't want to trade prospects. He don't want to trade very many picks, but I don't think that's what Vancouver's looking for. I think Vancouver's looking for players who can help in the playoffs now. One mind that I've been saying a lot is Tyler Johnson. Although that's kind of flipping the cap around, Tyler Johnson's been hurt a lot this season. He hasn't played too much. I think that that's someone the Vancouver Canucks would want. Someone who has that playoff experience, that Stanley Cup experience. So, Nick, what do you think about this? Just disregard Tyler Johnson for a moment. What do you think that the Blackhawks would trade to the Vancouver Canucks? What do you think the Canucks would be looking for in a return for Andrei Kuzmenko?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there about maybe Tyler Johnson. Probably not someone that Chicago's already signed to an extension because obviously they're trying to get to the cap floor. But someone like Tyler Johnson, he's not probably going to get re-signed. Someone like that, there's probably another 2 or 3 players that I could think of that are under the radar in Chicago, but it's definitely not going to be for picks and prospects. Chicago definitely has the picks to be able to trade maybe some late round picks with Tyler Johnson and yada, yada, yada. They have all these assets, but for me, I definitely agree with the Tyler Johnson thing. I like Tyler Johnson as much as he, caused me pain in the past with as a Montreal fan. It's kind of terrible, but he has been a proven playoff player every single time, no matter what. He moved up and down the lineup through the years with Tampa Bay, and he's always been a guy that's going to score an important goal when you least expect it. So I think that's what Vancouver's probably looking for in a secondary scoring or like third or fourth line, and I think that would be a very good move for Vancouver. And also Kuzmenko, obviously, like we said, getting to Chicago and trying to refine his stride and the 39 goals. If you can score 39 goals in your first NHL season, I don't think you're done there. I think you can definitely find that in your magic hat.
Yeah, no, I think that you will have to throw a pick in there. I think it won't be a first. Yeah. I think it'll probably be a second, third, a few late rounds, whatever it may be. But I think Tyler Johnson is the guy, I've said it in many videos past. He's been up and down the lineup wherever he's been in Tampa. He's been on the fourth line. He's been the AHL, been on the third, second, first, power play, unit 1 and 2, penalty kill. He's done it all in the playoffs, in the regular season, and we've seen that it came out with a few Stanley Cups. So I think that that's what Vancouver wants. They don't want to have another situation of 2011 again. They want this season to be the one. They have the facilities to do it. I think Tyler Johnson would definitely help, but Kuzmenko won't be cheap. They don't need to trade him. They want to get a bit of cap space to sign some or trade for someone or whatnot, but they don't really need to trade him if they don't want to. So I think that the leverage that they have is a lot. So I think that the Blackhawks will be wary on that, but I still think a trade is very possible. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this. I think this is a huge opportunity for the Blackhawks. They need to take advantage of this if they want to have, a better season going off. Not too good. Once again, not too good. We want that number 1 overall pick. But I do think it's a great opportunity. So let me know in the comments below. But that's all we got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.